Wow, I'm getting goosebumps. Today we're reacting to a video that Gwilym found super interesting. It tells the story of an extraordinary man that built an almost impossible machine, a Chinese mechanical typewriter capable of typing, apparently, allegedly, tens of thousands of characters without taking up the entire room.
This was a feat that many thought was impossible. Sadly, this invention got lost to time and was only recently rediscovered many years later in a New York basement.
有吊到我的胃口哦. Okay, I'm interested. I'll bite. So I'm just saying that we're reading this introduction. This is a genuine reaction. We haven't watched the video, so I'm already getting interested as we read this intro. All right, so in this video we're about to watch, the team at HTX Studios attempted actually to rebuild this machine from scratch and introduces the history of this crazy invention.
Okay, 来看吧.
Ready? And go.
This is an English typewriter. Compact, simple. Press a key and the letter is struck onto paper. Using it feels almost identical to typing on a modern computer. And this is a Chinese typewriter. Bulky, complicated. To type a word, you first have to find it on a large character plate, pull a lever, and then the character is stamped onto paper. It's far less convenient than an English typewriter. But English only has 26 letters. Chinese has tens of thousands of characters. In an era of limited technology, this seemed like a problem impossible to solve. Until, in 1947, someone built this machine, the MingKwai Chinese typewriter. Instead of a tray with 2,000 character slots, it used a 74-key keyboard. You can type Chinese, just like typing English. And despite being only slightly larger than an English typewriter, it didn't just type 2,000 characters, nor 20,000 characters. It could type 90,000 characters in total. Only one such machine was ever made, and that one machine has been lost for more than half a century. When I first heard of the MingKwai typewriter, I thought it was an urban myth. How could a purely mechanical device possibly type 90,000 characters? But numerous photos proved it's real, and even a video showed it in operation. Its inventor was a Chinese author, Nobel Prize nominee Lin Yutang. According to his biography, as early as 1931, he dreamed of inventing a Chinese typewriter that, like his English counterpart, anyone could use without special training. He became obsessed. Every morning at 5 or 6, he rearranged the characters, redesigned the keyboard, and repeated this again and again. After 16 years, he finally built the first fully functional prototype. Unfortunately, due to its high manufacturing cost, no company was willing to mass produce it. And 19 years later, that one prototype was lost during a move. Luckily, a set of patents filed in 1952 preserved the MingKwai's mechanism. Those patents survive to this day. We tried building the machine based on those patents, even making small mechanical models to test it. But as the diagrams went from this to this to this, we eventually had no idea what to do. Still, though we couldn't recreate MingKwai typewriters mechanically, we built an electric replica based on its principles. This is our version of the Chinese typewriter. Although it's far from the original, it demonstrates how the MingKwai worked. So how could a MingKwai typewriter type 90,000 characters? It used a 3-level drum system. The large drum carries 6 medium drums. Each medium drums carried 6 small drums. Each small drum had 8 faces, and each face held 20 type slots, 29 in the original MingKwai. That means the MingKwai could hold 6 times 6 times 8 times 29 equals to 8,352 characters. Here's how it worked. Say you wanted to type the character Hu. First, you need to press the key for its left component, the square mouth reticle. The triple drum would rotate the characters carrying the reticle on the left. Next, you press the key for the right bottom stroke vertical hook. The carriage would move the characters that vertical hook on the right. There can be up to 8 such characters, and this is where the magic happens. By attaching a device called the Magic Eye, you could preview those 8 characters through a small display in front of you. Beneath that window was a preview drum, engraved with the same characters as the main drum. User could see it with an optical system. The preview drum was synchronized via belts, so it moves with the paper carriage and the main drum.
Was the preview thing available in the original thing or just in this machine that they built? Anyway.
Is so clever that the 8 characters ready to print were exactly the 8 shown in the window. Finally, you press the number key corresponding to the desired character. The mechanism would rotate the type arm, the hammer would strike, and the character would be printed. The experience was remarkably similar to how we input Chinese characters today. This method, searching characters by their upper left and lower right radicals, was Lin Yutang's own invention, the instant index system. But even with the triple drum design, it could only directly print about 8,000 characters. How did it reach 90,000? Because around those 8,000 type slogs, around 7,000 were complete characters, and the rest were radicals, about 70 phonetic components, and 1,300 graphic components. By combining these radicals, you could form new characters. For instance, to type the character yen, you first press the key for mouth radical and print it on paper. Then press those two keys that gives you the character yen. The smaller one is the radical. Type that as well, and they form the whole character. That's one of roughly 70 times 1,300, about 91,000 possible combinations. Many of those combinations
seems like a very
were real
time-consuming,
but the concept was revolutionary. Traditional Chinese typewriters couldn't type characters they don't have, but MingKwai allowed rare or even new characters to be composed mechanically. Its design brilliance was truly breathtaking. Even today, we find it challenging to reproduce such precision using brushless motors. 76 years ago, Lin Yutang achieved it using.
It's interesting that this is actually a problem that a lot of people with unique character names face all the time. So nowadays, before it would kind of be seen, if you're interested in how people choose names, go check out that video. But before it would be seen as like, to show how unique you are, your parents would often give you a very unique character. But you would find that when this person does any kind of like paperwork documentation for their national ID to get their chops, it's always like a big hoo-ha, even today, if you have a kind of strange character.
对，因为像是我们假如说缺字，在字体里面缺字，它就会变成一个像正方形的嘛。然后我们会说这个就是豆腐。那设计师就会叫豆腐。
Yeah, so even now, if you're making like a poster or you're doing something, it's so annoying when there's like a font, like you've picked a font type, and then that character, because it's so rare, doesn't actually have that font.
我们以前在学设计的时候，第一堂课就是教你怎么去把字体拆掉，拆成组成。
Interesting.
对对对，这是其中一堂课。
All right, let's continue.
Gears, chains, and levers. But with our electric version, there's one benefit. Once the keyboard is modified, it can type automatically.
Whoa. Whoa. Wait, is this just like a video, or is this an actual device that they've built? Wow. That's crazy. That's amazing.
When I sat before the typewriter practicing typing, I felt it was a miracle. Wrote Lin Yutang's daughter.
Wow, I'm getting goosebumps.
Indeed, the triple drum mechanism and the top-bottom radical indexing method beautifully solved the problem of storing and retrieving thousands of Chinese characters. In 1947, it could only be described as a miracle. Sadly, this milestone invention was never mass-produced.
Oh,
the
so
project bankrupted Lin
built
Yutang, who had once published several bestsellers. Lin Yutang later wrote, every part was handmade and costly, but father had already invested so much, he couldn't stop halfway. The MingKwai was admired, but he was deep in debt. One afternoon, I came home to find my mother in tears. Years of savings were gone, and anxiety filled the house. The sad part is, the challenge of Chinese text input wouldn't be truly solved until the computer age. In a mechanical era, to create a Chinese typewriter with an input system meant unbearable complexity and cost. A machine born from such passion was almost destined to fail commercially. If time could turn back, would Lin Yutang regret building it? A story in his biography offers a clue. One day, wrote Lin Taiyi, father and I were in a taxi. He was playing with the paper keyboard model, proudly saying that the brilliance of his invention lay in the keyboard design, and the mechanical problems weren't difficult. I nervously asked, then why not just sell the keyboard idea itself without making the machine? He looked at me and softly said, perhaps I could, but I can't help myself. I must build a real typewriter, one that can truly type Chinese. Alright everyone, this video was first released in March 2023, and then in January 2025, something incredible happened. The only MingKwai typewriter in existence was discovered in a basement in New York. It turned out Lin Yutang has sold it to Mergenthaler Linotype Company, and one of their engineers had kept it in storage all these years. It has been now transferred to Stanford libraries, and we are eagerly awaiting their research findings. Thank you for watching. See you next time.
Wow, what a fantastic video! That was really fantastic. And there is one interesting point that I do want to share is Iona mentioned that Lin Yutang is actually someone that we all know of and hear of, but we never knew of his work around this mechanical keyboard.
对，从来不知道，就是林语堂大家都知道，大家都读过他的文章，他就是非常有名的文豪。然后，但是这个故事竟然从来没有人知道，真的是很可惜。
And it's so interesting to think of him already kind of breaking up how the components work to create more flexibility. And in fact, this, even with the age of computing, how to put together characters was still kind of a problem, and you could kind of see it with the different input methods. So if you look at a Taiwanese keyboard, you'll see two main ways that you can input characters. One is phonetic, so using 注音, and again, if you're interested, you can go check out our 注音 course. And the second, which is similar to the concept presented in this typewriter, is 仓颉, and that is how you put the characters together. I personally always found this input method a little bit difficult because
我自己也不会。
You really need to know what the end result looks like. And if you're kind of like, how does that character, what is that component? You kind of find yourself stuck. Whereas, of course, if you use a phonetic system, as long as you can say it, you can type it.
我们一开始就没什么表情，其实我在猜是因为我们应该都在想说，怎么可能
Yeah.
It's like impossible in our brain. It's like, huh?
And also, the video looks so smooth. I kept on being like, is this an animation of the device? And it's also just so kind of incredible, the level of complexity. Like we know at Skritter, right? The complexity of characters, how to break them down, how to put them together, how to learn them. So to really see someone having to put that much thought into it in that time period, but also the complexity to kind of rebuild this device was truly phenomenal. And I want to go back to my point about kind of computing era and kind of solving typing. I recently went to the Train Museum here in Taipei, and I saw this wonderful keyboard where basically to kind of speed up the process, they had built a special keyboard with all the different stations, because you can imagine that first of all, to save time, but if this was a phonetic language like English, maybe things would have been easier, but to kind of really speed up the process, they had to make kind of custom keyboards. And if you look at kind of computing products maybe in the 90s, you might see a lot of these kind of more customized Mandarin input devices.
对于一个母语者，从一开始看那个影片，心里就会一直有很多很多的疑问，就是好，你这个部首，你知道中文在一个部首在不同的位置，它会有不同的大小、不同的形态。I'm like， 真的假的？真的假的？就是我从头到尾都是真的假的？所以我们可能脸没有很，就是 it's like
our most calm reaction video to date, but that is because of the reverence that we feel towards this device.
真的超厉害，林语堂，我对你产生了
But also the team that made it.
对。
If today's video made you want to understand how characters work even more, we have plenty of courses for you here at Skritter, starting with the Skritter character course or our 注音 course. Leave a comment below on what you would like us to react to next. Bye.
Bye, 下次见。